Weekly, GarageBand, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly. Need an answer to your question. John, you'll have a suggestion. He's a fountain of all knowledge. I think he might have gone to GarageBand College. What he doesn't know, we'll try and find out. So join the chat and give him a shout. Pete John, Pete John, GarageBand Weekly.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today. My name is Pete Johns, and this is our weekly dose of GarageBand and Apple Music creation related goodness. I know it's called GarageBand Weekly, but I'm taking a little poetic license today because we're mixing in Logic Pro. Yes, we're getting to the business end of Songtember. We'll talk about that in a moment. And we've got a little bit of mixing for us to do here today. If you want to know all about GarageBand, though, especially GarageBand on your iPad or your iPhone, iOS GarageBand, jump on over to studiolive today.com/GarageBand. That's this place here that has all of the information. I've collected it all just for you. We've got all of my playlists there. You can check out my course, just $10, still $10, always $10 for 5 hours of curated content. You can join all the communities, and you can even check out my frequently asked questions. Everything from 24-bit audio to, what's the last one? Any Zs? I don't think so. Zip! There you go. Everything from 24-bit audio to zip files and everything in between, how to use GarageBand iOS. We will say good day to the folks who are here live. We've got some news and notes to talk about because there's been some big things going down in the world of Apple gear in the last week. We'll talk about that in a jiffy, and then we'll dive in and do some mixing. If you're watching on the replay and you want to get straight to the mixing part, just the music, man, jump down in the description. I'll have a timestamp there waiting for you, ready to go. Thank you, Jade Star, for dropping those links in there. There's the beginner's guide, and there is the GarageBand guide. Not that GarageBand guide, my GarageBand guide. G'day to Emilio. Hope you're doing well. Hello to Ashley HM. G'day, Mark Bro. Hello, Chad Freeman. Thank you for being here. If you're here and you have any questions, we are interactive throughout the show, so all you need to do is put a Q in front of your comment, and I'll dive into those. I'll tag them as we go through. I'll let you know that I've got your question, and then we generally answer them in a bit of a bunch because it's just easier that way than interrupting the flow sometimes because we've got a lot to talk about. Let's dive in and start with a few things. In fact, we'll go out of order. The news and notes are down there in the description, but let's start with this one because it's an important one. Public service announcement. I know, I'm a broken record, folks. If you've been watching this show, if you've been listening to my rantings for the last 7 years, I say one thing about iOS and iPadOS updates, and macOS updates for that matter. Any software update that is not a 0.01 or a 0.1 version, hold off on updating if you're in the middle of an important project. And guess what? It's Songtember at the moment, so a lot of you, like me, are right smack bang in the middle of recording something in GarageBand or in Logic Pro. Now is not the time to start experimenting with new operating systems. Now, I know the beta's been out for a while, there's been a bunch of testing, but everyone's setup is different. And you don't want to find out that that one plugin that you're relying on to make your song epic simply doesn't work in iOS or iPadOS 17. There's nothing worse than having to troubleshoot problems that you caused yourself by being too eager to update. So if you want to play it safe, if you want to make sure that you have the best experience, then I would hold off on updating to iOS 17 or iPadOS 17. That all being said, I do have a link to a video down there if you want to find out what the new features are. There are quite a few new features, to be really honest, for music creators. There's not a heap. So there's not an amazing amount of new features that are going to really help you. Some of the things that I like, I think it's really weird that we've now got voicemail screening. So if someone calls you, when was the last time anyone called me? I don't know. Someone calls you and they start leaving a voicemail, it'll start transcribing and pop up on your screen so you can see not only if they're important enough to answer, but if they've got something relevant to say. And then if they are, you can break in and go, oh, wow, it's the test results. Or there's also the ability to leave FaceTime messages. So I can see that being slightly handy if you're collaborating on a project and you just want to FaceTime someone real quick and you don't want to talk to them because you want to get back to recording, but you just want to go, the snare drums are too splashy, I'm just fixing them. I don't know, something like that. They got standby modes, so when you turn your phone sideways now, you can have that cool standby mode, so you can turn your $1,000 iPad into a $20 clock radio. Yeah, or iPhone. We've got verification codes. This is cool. If, like me, you log into, say, your Spotify or your DistroKid or your hover.com or all the other platforms that I use, you get two-factor authentication. And if you're using that through your SMS, there's that cool feature where it pops straight up and you can just tap it. You don't have to go to your SMS app, go 471693, and then type it in. That's now compatible with email. So if you use the Apple Mail app and you do that verification thing where you have to get a two-factor code or some sort of verification via email, that now pops straight up when you're going in to enter that code. So I think that's pretty cool. Music related, the new changes to SharePlay for Apple Music. So if you're on a road trip, bruh, and you're with all your buddies in the car, you can use multiple people that can SharePlay through and send their music. So you can all fight over what songs you play when you're out on the road. Crossfade in Apple Music. I'm actually pretty excited about this. I used to love the different apps. So I used to have Winamp was obviously the classic, but I used to love a music playing app where you could actually set crossfade. And now Apple Music's going to have that. So you can have that cool thing where one song fades out and another one kicks in, which I don't know, I just don't like that gap between songs, especially if you're having a party or something, you just want the music to keep flowing. So that's pretty cool. Offline maps is pretty good because that will give you the ability to, so for myself, I walk up to Moriata Falls here in Adelaide and I lose complete wireless access. So I'm trying to find which path I'm going on and my map's just a blurry mess because it hasn't updated. So now I can say, give me this chunk, and I'll have my maps up there when I go there. AirPods Pro 2, adaptive audio and conversational awareness. Now, I love my AirPods. I love my AirPods for their audio quality. I really don't like the microphone quality on these. I don't think it works that well at all. There's something about just sticking something in your ear and expecting it to be a good microphone that doesn't quite work out. So I don't know if this is going to be a thing, but the adaptive audio where it actually adjusts your volume based on your surroundings, that could be cool. It's probably going to be just like the brightness on your phone. Really irritating, never quite gets it right. So we'll see if that has any play at all. And I've left the best for last, external USB camera support. Now, big caveat here. I haven't tested this. And from what I've read and from what I've seen of other people who have tested it, it's only for FaceTime right now. It doesn't seem that it just creates like you would on a PC or a Mac, a generic general device that you can use for everything. So you can plug in a webcam or any USB video device to use for FaceTime if you want to have your DSLR camera for those amazing FaceTime videos. But I don't know how this is going to work. I definitely think that StreamYard would just spit in its face. So for anyone getting excited about being able to use a webcam and your iPad for doing live streaming like I'm doing here now, instead of the camera on your iPhone or iPad, I wouldn't back it in. And the same with trying to do something like on a stream, not stream, what's the other one called? Like an OBS, the other OBS streaming type one, Streamlabs. I've got a feeling that Apple will lock it down at least initially. But it's a good sign that maybe in the future we will have better external camera support for iPad and iPhone. We can dream, can't we? We can dream. Yeah, Winamp, old school. The Beats Sports Pro is better. There you go. And cheaper too. And you're still giving your money to Apple, Mark, so that's good. Hello, Barry, Glenn. Hello, Joe, Glenn. Hello, everyone. Hello, Andy, Cal. Thank you for being here. Let's go back to the other thing that we're going to talk about, because burying the lead here, we got brand new iPhone 15, iPhone 15 Pro, iPhone 15 Pro Max. We got the Apple Watch 9, the Apple Watch Ultra 2. These have all been announced. I've talked about them a heap here on the channel. If you missed that one, there's a video down in the description. That's the 55-second version. There's also a live stream where I dive into all the details of the new stuff. Here's my one-line statement. They're just like the last version, but a bit better. That's it. evolutionary, people, not revolutionary here. So there's no amazing new features. The one thing I'd probably call out is the camera. The cameras just keep getting better and better and better. And the cool feature with the Apple Watch, the new one that's coming out, is you're going to be able to do your finger tapping thing to make it do things. Now, there's already an accessibility option that can let you do gestures, and it does sort of do it, but apparently the new chip in the new S9 chip is going to be even better at doing that sort of stuff. So that's your Apple news there. What about news around here? Well, guess what? It's Songtember time, people. Yeah. So if you are part of Songtember, you'll already know this. But if you're not, yeah, look, you got a week and a bit. You got 11 days. I think you can whip up a song in 11 days. If you want to find out what it's all about, head on over to that website, studiolivetoday.com/Songtember. What you'll find over there is all of this business. Yeah, you've got all of my information here about Songtember. You can submit your Songtember song right up the front there. I've made that super simple for you to get to the Songtember Your Music Live entry form. You can catch up on all the videos there. You can join the communities. You can check out our friends of Songtember. You can find out how it all works and why we do it each and every year. And it's ticking along nicely. We've got a lot of folks starting to finish their songs who are really ahead of the curve, and other folks like me who are about halfway through. Maybe. Good point here from Mark. Yeah, the good news about all these, every time there's an Apple announcement with new devices, it just means that the old devices become more available and better prices. And the cool thing is that every year, the iPhone 15 is using the iPhone 14 Pro chip, and the iPhone 14 used the iPhone 13 Pro chip. So you're getting a really good bang for your buck if you're buying last year or even 2 years ago's model. My iPhone 12 is still going strong. No issues whatsoever with this one. And can you see that? I can't really. Let's get the right angle. No, won't work there with the green screen. But what that is saying there is that I am updating to iOS 17. I needed at least one device that had it on here so I can be your guinea pig. So I've decided to put it on my iPhone 12. The 14, which is my daily driver, and my iPad will not be getting the update until at least the 1st of October or 17.01, whatever comes first. Because I've been bitten too many times. iOS 13, I think, was probably the worst. iOS 16.0 wasn't great. They all seem to do something not quite right. Thank you, Dr. Blues. Nobody puts out more up-to-date and relevant info than Pete. I try to wade through the muck and give you just the facts. That's kind of what I see as my job here, because if you want all the superlatives, you can go watch the hour-and-a-half movie from Apple with the 20-minute dramatization with Octavia Spencer. If you just want to find out what goes on and what happened, yeah, jump in here. I'll give you just the details you need. Another couple of little updates before we finish off. Down in the description, you'll find that we have some changes for next week's live show. Yeah, I'm having the weekend off, which is going to be delightful. It's my first weekend off since I got back from the States in, April? So it's been a while. So I've decided that the two shows that we'll be doing, we've got one show. I'll just bring these up over here so that you can see them. They're down in the description if you want to go and check them out. The happy hour this week will be pre-recorded, but I'm doing something pretty cool and pretty special. We're doing this. We're doing My Music Live. Yes, worlds colliding. Your Music Live and the happy hour together at last. So I'll actually be playing videos from my songs over the last 7 to 8 years that I've been creating music here on the channel. So it's kind of going to be a bit of a look back on all the songs and all the songs that have cool videos that I've created over time. So yes, a complete self-flagellation there for a little while for that one. And the other note there is that Your Music Live will be one day late because I'll be having the weekend off and I really want to get up at 6:30 on a Monday morning and collate a playlist after a weekend off. So we'll be doing that on the Tuesday, which means you got one extra day to get your songs in to Your Music Live. So that is it. You are up to date with everything going on around here in just 14 minutes. Hopefully that is all good stuff. Should we dive in? Yeah, I think we should. Let's dive on in to the iPad here. This is the song we've been working on for the entirety of Songtember. We got a little cleaning up to do. We got a little playing around here to do. And what I thought we would do in this week's show is just do some basic mixing. So kind of taking it back to basics, because I got to be honest with you. I get very overwhelmed in Logic Pro for iPad. I'm a GarageBand guy, as many of you know, and that's why we have the name of this show as GarageBand Weekly. But GarageBand has just so much going on that it can get quite overwhelming when you get to the point where you're mixing. You're like, oh! So the first tip I'll give you here about mixing is double tap on the bottom is your friend. So if you're in too deep, if you're like Phil Collins and you're in too deep, yeah, all you need to do is double tap on that bottom. And if you've got a whole bunch of stuff on there, right down here in the bottom section, double tap on that will turn off everything and take you right back here to your main screen. So this is where I'm going to, this is my peaceful, safe zone here. Now you'll notice that we're on version 12, so I've continued to do some mixing and changing and moving things around over time. And we're now at the point where, because I kind of mix as I go along, so I try and find the right tones. If it needs a little tweak, I'll add a little tweak in there as we go along. And the main change I've made is that I like to have, on a rock song like this, I like to have a reverb and a delay. And in GarageBand land, I use the master reverb and the master delay. Here in Logic Pro, we have buses. So I've actually created a couple of buses, so auxiliary buses. So all the way down here, we've got a bus-reverb and we've got a bus-delay. So these are very, very simple at this stage. This one's just got the Space Designer with a nice room reverb on there. And this one has a delay. And yes, we have also updated the colors. So in the last video, so that I could tell the difference between my instruments, we've updated the colors, and I've definitely benefited from being able to see things a little clearer there. So I've showed buses in a previous video if you want to go and dive into that, but they're really, really easy to set up. And you'll notice that at the moment, I've got most of my vocals and my guitars going in for a little bit. So I've got a little bit of buses going in, a little bit of each of these tracks going into the buses. And all this means is you set up your effect on the bus. So we've set up a reverb here, we've set up a delay here, and then you just decide how much you send to each of those. And this, in my opinion, creates that band playing together in a room feel. So when I start mixing, I tend to do that, throw some reverb and delay on there, so you get that band playing together in a space kind of feel. Why don't we grab this lead vocal, and I'll give you a bit of a demo. We've got a whole bunch more vocals in here, by the way. I've re-recorded a lot of these vocals, and we've got tracks going out the wazoo, so I'm going to have to play around with these tracks a little bit here today. But you can see here with this vocal, I've got the bus 4 there, which is my reverb. I've got quite a bit going into the reverb, and just a little touch of delay on there. So if we solo this track, let's just take a listen and find a spot. I do love this. If you've got this view, by the way, see how at the top there, even if you've got your mixer all the way up, if you have your mixer just down below, these are just a little tips that I'm learning as I go. It'll show you the track that you selected. So this is actually a really cool feature. If, like me, you get lost and you're like, which track am I on? You can tap down the bottom here and see how it updates the track at the top there. You can just get a nice best of both worlds kind of view here. So I find that useful. Let's play this vocal. All right,
People will say lots of things, but they just don't know why. What?
So you can hear there, you've got the delay on there and you've got a bit of space. Now, I'll tweak those reverbs and delay over time. At the moment, it's just so that I can get a bit of a feel for how it's sounding at the moment. But to give you an idea of how this works, if we grab these sends and we turn them all the way down, this is what the vocal sounds like without any of those.
Why do you care what they think of your choices in life?
And you can just hear that there are some actual vocals. So we've got a spring reverb, we've got a tape delay, we got some stuff on here as well. So we may be doubling up a little bit, but again, I kind of don't mind that. So if we bring this back up again, so put that to say a half and that to about a quarter and play.
People will do lots of things just to make you feel small. Why do you...
Why? So I've gone with an 8th note for the delay because I think it works really well with a rock song like this. So if we come down here to these and you want to find out what I've put on here, it's just a matter of going into this one. We're in setup mode. We need to go into mix mode, Tap on that one, and there's our Space Designer set up as the realistic room, a 0.7 second realistic room on the reverb. And if we look at our delay, we've used a very simple eighth note slow pan. So it adds a little bit of a stereo feel with that slow pan at the same time, which can be a good for a song like this, just to give it more width and more kind of space. So that's the main change we've made since we've been playing around before. Just wanted to show you that before we dive into this, because I'll turn off that. Because I've recorded some new vocals here. You can see we've got a heap of vocal takes now, and I'll just show you which ones we're actually using. So you might have heard there in the background, I re-recorded these vocals with the song actually playing through my speakers. I was finding that with the headphones on it was too restrictive, so we're getting a little bit of bleed, so you probably would have heard as we were playing there. Very faintly. Very faintly, you'll hear the music in the background. Now, I was using a dynamic mic, so it was doing quite a lot of sound rejection, so that's a good thing. And I don't think you really need to worry too much. If you get a better performance, I'm going to take a little bit of bleed through of the track, because guess what? It's the track. It's just going to add a little bit more. It's not going to make it too muddy. So why don't we listen to this all the way through, and then we'll go in and do a few little tweaks. Then I'm going to do some listening and some mix notes. So I'm going to work out what we need to do and where. These vocals, by the way, I'm still not 100% happy with them. You might be able to hear I've got a bit of hay fever at the moment, so my voice is kind of a little bit crackly and husky, and not in a good way. Not in like a John Lennon, get back kind of way, but in a bit of a less than ideal way. So let's play this through though, and you can see where we're at too with this song called Choices. that's where we're at. Now, how far along do I think we are? Like towards a mix? Like 70%. So I'm not unhappy with how it's sounding, and what I'll actually do in a second, just to see what this is going to sound like with more of a mastered kind of vibe, is to to maybe put a master plugins on the master bus here. Yeah, we also need to balance out the sounds a little bit. So what I might do for this one, so this is what I do at this point of a project, is this is my everything's pretty good. If we completely stuff it up, let's come back to this one. So what we'll actually do is, because we do need to turn down pretty much everything, because what you'll notice here, see over here, we're peaking up around -2. So we don't want to be peaking at -2 on our stereo bus. We want that to be more down around -10 if we can, so that we've got some headroom to do some mastering in this one. So we'll need to do a little bit of tweaking in this. So let's jump out of this and duplicate it, knowing that 12 is like a release candidate kind of thing. And we will duplicate this one out to make it choices 13. We'll open up this sucker here. And now we can start experimenting. So yeah, the left guitar. So we need to get these guitars a bit more balanced here and find the right sort of volume for them. So what we'll do, I'll just get rid of the mixer for the time being. I actually love using this little thing now, because this gives me my comfort zone. Like, the mixer is a little overwhelming for me a lot of the time, but what this gives me is the ability to come in here and see where these are panned and where these are in terms of volume. So we've got good control over this that we can see at a glance. And yeah, as you can see there, the right guitar is indeed up a little higher than the left. So we can bring these up. So let's solo in these guitars and just see if we can get a nice balanced wall of guitars sound throughout the song. So let's have a listen to these. There's our left guitar. And because everything needs to come down, and even though I always advocate mixing with your ears, not your eyes, sometimes just looking here, seeing where these levels are coming up to, can make sure you've got a bit of a more of a balanced sound. I reckon that's cool. Hello, Kiondra. You can hear that little nice bit of delay on there too. Let's bring in our center guitar. Yeah. So this rhythm guitar here in the center, it's a bit too harsh, but that's because the preset had this channel EQ with this boost at the top here. So I'm actually going to remove that boost, because I think actually we'll listen so we can do a bit of A/B here. So I think if anything, it can probably. I don't mind the scooped mids, but I kind of like that a bit better. It means up the middle we're not having as harsh a sound. That's cool. Let's bring in the bass guitar to balance this. So you can see that over here on our stereo out, we're already pushing up to -14. So this is how you can get a lot of volume build up really quickly. But I think because the guitars are really the star of this show, I do want to make sure now, is that bass too loud? I do want the bass to poke through. The bass may be a little bit loud, but I'm going to leave it there because once we bring these drums in, we need to get these to sit nicely. Now, Jade's already done some pretty extensive mixing on these drums, and there's not much I need to do, to be honest. She's done all the hard work for me. So I really just need to find, here's the master volume. These drums are a subgroup, so these are a sub-mix group so that we can expand and retract them. So I'm just going to use this fader, sorry, I'll show you with the mouse, this fader here to bring in the right amount of drums here. So let's put it down to 0 and let's bring it on in. And that's the thing, Jade, like I don't go nuts with the drums. Like you could tweak the EQ on every kit piece, but with a virtual drum kit, they've actually done a lot of that already for you. So it's often not relevant to spend a lot of time playing around with it. Yeah, and again, the EQ, because they're a virtual drum kit, add it if you need it. So maybe like the EQing I normally do with drums, like with virtual drums, is maybe if the crashes are a little harsh, sometimes they can be a bit too tinny. So I might EQ the crash cymbals a little bit. Saturation on the bass mark, yeah, maybe we'll add a little now they've got and I think I need saturation on the vocals too. But I'm pretty sure that that's a pretty good sounding mix. I'm just going to listen to this through and just see if we've got this sort of right balance here with these as we come into the start of the song, and then I'll check in with some of the other sections as well. Those toms are so cool. Are those drums up there? Are those drums at the right level, you reckon? Let me know if you think they need to come up a little bit. Maybe a dB or two up on the drums overall. Yeah, as Natty's saying here, little punch or high end for the drums. I'm thinking that snare, like a bit more of a crack on that snare sound would probably be a good thing. Listening through the headphones, drums sound good. Yeah, the bass, like the bass and the drums together, yeah. Like the kick, it doesn't sound like every other used drum sample. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's simple but effective. Like I keep calling this song simple, and Jade's like, Johns, it was in like 4 different key time signatures, mate. It wasn't simple at all, but I just think that it was done so. It was done so well, done such a way that the bass, that like you could just listen to those bass and drums, and it would sound cool. And then with the wall of guitars, I think it complements it well. Let's just bring in the last of the instrumentation stuff before we play with vocals, which we need to play with my organ, and just make sure that this is going to work at the right level in here. Let's come through here. I think we need some flange on this organ. What do you reckon? I think this really needs... I think the B3 actually has built-in flange option, does it? Or do I just put a flanger on there? Oh, there's a vibrato. So they've got a vibrato and the chorus. I'm thinking... so many options. I don't want to mess it up because it sounds pretty good, but I just kind of want it to... I might just add a basic flanger plug-in rather than try and mess around with that. So if we come in here, we just want a very light flange factory. My goodness, we got flange factory. That's kind of cool. All right, flange factory. So let's just see what presets this has. It might even have one for like a deep flange, resonant, classic tape flange, too much flange, subtle flange. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a subtle flange. Let's see what a subtle flange is going to do with this. That's not bad. There's the organ at the end there, because this is very much a Tool homage. It's an homage to the song that starts with that do 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 do. Starts with a little organ do 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 do. No 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 no. I think, is it Jimmy? Is that the name of the song from Anima? Yeah, so I thought, bringing in an organ at the end here is kind of a nice little homage to all of that business. So what I'm going to do here now is bring all my vocals down, because I need to find and name the parts of these vocals that I want to use, because I can't remember. I've done so many. I didn't take my own advice and label these properly as we went along. So I've got all of these different vocals, and we need to do a little experimenting with the vocals here now. Yeah, it's a cool Tool song, isn't it? Which one is it? Is it Jimmy, or is it? It's not Hooker with a Penis. It's one of those middle tracks that's really cool. All right, let's go to the start here where our vocals kick in. So here's our intro with all of our instruments. So our first vocal. So this one is the one we did on the condenser mic. This one's the first one we did on the dynamic. So I'm going to mute these because they're the ones we did originally. This is the redo one that I did yesterday that I think is a little better, and it has the new lyrics in it as well. So let's just listen to this.
People will say lots of things, but they just don't know why. Why do you care what they of your choices in life.
So that's the vibe we got there. We'll come into the plugins. Is that the same as that? No, I've changed some of those. So I'm just going to duplicate this out just to get the same. And bring this back up. Delete out this one. Just so that we've got the same there. Sure. Oh, no, don't do that. I must have missed something. We must have additional regions. We do. Thankfully, Logic warned me and said, you're about to delete more stuff than you mean to here, Johns. Why don't you just take a chill pill, bro? That up there. Are they still lined up? Nope. Got to be really careful with the touchscreen here when you're moving things. Very easy to move things around and put them in places you do not intend. Be careful, folks. Don't put things places that you don't intend. All right, we're going to delete out this one. That's cool. So these two are going to be our main vocal and our vocal double. So this is going to be the vocal here, and then we're going to bring this one in as a vocal double. Let's just do a quick test here.
But they just don't know why. Why do you care what they think of your choices in life? People will do lots of things just to make you feel small. Why do you care what they think of your choices in life? Choices in life.
All right, we definitely need a little more compression, so I'll have to play around with the compressor on that. What I'm aiming to do here, because we've got like 15 minutes left in the show, is get this to a point where we can do a listen through, and then what I do at this point in time is once I've got sort of a static mix, I go away and listen to it, and I take mix notes, and then I come back and implement changes. So I've already had some ideas from folks who definitely want to play around with the snare. Emilio says a bit of panning automation on the backing vocal would definitely be cool, and maybe a bit of saturation on the bass to give it a bit more punch. So we're doing the basic mixing job here, and then we will play around with that, and I'll add to that. In fact, let's make sure I'm making my notes, shall we? Because I can make a head start on these if I bring up my notes here and start adding it to them. So let me just do that. I'm going to bring up the song in my songwriting section here and put some mix notes here, because if you think you're going to remember it, you won't. So we definitely need drums, punchier, top end, especially the snare, bass, saturation. I also think the vocals need some saturation or potentially just a little bit of distortion, like just something that's going to beef them up a little bit. What else did we say there? Yeah, panning automation. Those backing vocals, should like them kind of float around a little bit more. I think would actually sound pretty cool. Let's come back. It's H. It is H, isn't it? That one. Yeah, you know that one. Yeah, no, that one. All right, so we'll come down to this part. Right, so that's our main vocal. We then move over to these vocals, which are the ones that I was struggling with, still kind of struggle with. These ones definitely need an effect on them of some sort. So what will we call this? We'll call this the first bridge vocals need like a loud hailer or sort of a telephone effect. Something to really just make it screamier, since I don't quite have the screams. Jade has the screams, which she's added in here. We'll get to that in a sec. But we'll turn the volume up on this one. In fact, let's just, we'll use the same defaults as we had for this. So we'll just duplicate. I just find this as an easier way. Bring that down. to get the same sounds, because then we can tweak it however we want afterwards. So we'll just bring these tracks up to there. The other way to do that is you could save one as a preset and then just add that to the other tracks. But I just find this is quick and dirty and simple. And you can tell that I'm a GarageBand convert because I use the same techniques I used to use in GarageBand to do all this stuff. Let's come in here and play this.
They will try to do it to you. You have a choice. We need a voice. If you make it, they will break it. We need a change. We need a break. People will judge you for things that you just cannot change. Why do you care what they think of your choices in life? You're not the
All right, so here's the next section. So we'll just split these out. And I'm leaving the doubles in there for everywhere at the moment. They probably won't stay everywhere, if you know what I mean. I'll probably change that up and only have it in sort of the chorus areas. Let's delete this. I like the natural feel of the track as well. Idea, tinker with room, verb on the whole mix might be cool. Yeah, season to taste. So, and that's another thing. So, yeah, stereo out. Yeah, like a reverb, a room reverb sound. Because I've started adding it sort of bus by bus, but because I didn't really want it on things like the bass and the kick drum and stuff, but maybe just a little bit, because I know you're not really supposed to put it on your kick drum and your bass, so say the experts, but sometimes just the whole mix having just that little touch of reverb just kind of glues it all together. And we do need to leave some room in the mastering phase as well to kind of glue this together as well. So this final section here does this.
You're not the star of your own one-man show. You think you know more than I'll ever know. You won't admit that you also feel pain. You just repeat what the other will
All right, so there are main vocals. There are some backing vocals down here, but I just want to get rid of what I think were just dodgy attempts before, like this one.
If you
Yeah, those. So these can go away. I do have these backed up in previous versions of this track, but this was where I really wasn't hitting those well. Here's the backing vocal track, though, that I do want to bring in, because this is the bit that does this at the end. So these ones here, these backing vocals, yeah, they're not going through the reverb bus or the delay bus there at all. So we can show you how we do this, how we create a send. Whoop. Not like that. Let's just bring the mixer up here. So here is our backing vocals. Are they the ones we were using? Hang on. This is where I start getting confused. All right, so let's delete these ones out too. Let's just create space for us to think here and make sure we know what we're using, because they were never going to make it to the final cut anyway. So there we've got our vocal double. We've got that sections where it overlaps in there. We've got Jade's epic screams there. We've got the backing vocal that goes throughout the track here. And we've got that final second harmony backing vocal there. So these are the two tracks that we want to play with, which are here and here. Cool. So we want to go up here to the little plus thing. And we can use the sends here. So we've already got the bus set up, so we can go send bus, and because I've named it, we know that 4 is the reverb, and we can add the bus here, which is our delay bus. And we can do the same on the other track, because I think these ones need to basically be swimming in reverb. Oops, I've added it the other way around. That's going to confuse the crap out of me. Alright, so we want, I reckon, lots of reverb on these, so we'll just sort of put them up big time. And just a little of that 8th note delay added in there. Yeah, that was a really stupid idea to do that way around. All right, let's come out of here and play this last little section and see if these are going to sound right. We'll solo them and take a listen. So whereabouts with the choices in life here, Jade? Because you say at the end it should sing choices in life. Choices in life. Like at the end, choices in life. Or maybe it's like a whisper, kind of like a choices in life, like going around about. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I'll play around with it. Hello, thank you. The vocals are freaking amazing. Well, thanks, Frank. I'll be really honest with you. I was super nervous about these vocals because they weren't coming together. I'm still not 100% satisfied with them, probably never will be, but I've gone from being about 20% to about 70%. So I don't know, I may or may not give it another crack over the next couple of days, but yeah, we'll see how we go. The Mix Club says, I like it. The song feels like you are in a live show in a nice way, nice musical environment. Everything is playing nice together. From you, I take that as a compliment, Rhett, so thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So what are these last sections that we have down here? I think these were old vocals that we're probably not using anymore. Turn it up. Why do you care what they think of your choices in life? Yeah, they were the original scratch ones. What about these backing vocals down here? Were these just the O's? I don't mind that. Why don't we just mix that one in like really softly in the background? I think it's just doing the same as this other one, but it could add a little bit of extra texture to it down the back there. Kind of sounds ghostly. Yeah, I reckon this one we can put like some big width on it. So it's already got the chroma verb on there. Should we put wider? No, we're using all stock, aren't we? Stereo spread. Stereo. I've never played with a stereo spread plug-in here. We're coming towards the end of this show, but I think we've made some progress. So let's do the savey thing. Remember to save here, exit, top left, out, come back in. You know what I would love? I would love a little save button. You got this real estate here. What's wrong with just a save button right here? Don't you think that would be super handy so that you don't have to close and reopen every time you just want to do a quick cheeky save? Just saying, Apple. Just saying. I'm an ideas man, Apple. All right. So the final thing I wanted to do here is if we jump into the mixer, let's set up our master bus because we're probably going to master this track simply by using plugins on our stereo out here. But the first ones I want to add are our metering. So we have a couple of cool meters here that we can add. We've got our level meter and we've also got our loudness meter. So if you just come in here and you type meter, you can actually put these in here so we can start checking these out. If we go to our plugins there, see how if we're on this stereo track, we can be listening to the track and be monitoring our peak levels of our overall track, but also our loudness. So we can start looking at things like LUFS. The other thing that we can do is put a limiter on here, which I'll do now. So we'll just put should we use the adaptive limiter? Is that going to work all right for a master? Let's see. I normally use the regular limiter, soft limiter. Yeah, no, I've never used the adaptive limiter. Let's not go with something we've never used before. Let's just use the regular limiter. Just stick that one on. Everybody to the limit. The cheat is to the limit. Everybody coming for Hogwarts. From on for Hogwarts. So yeah, let's just put a standard master on here. Again, we can play around with this to our heart's content, but just so that we can hear what sort of mastering it will do. Oh, thank you, Weary Pirates. Appreciate you. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate you as well. I forgot to promote this show at all, by the way, so I didn't put it on any of the Facebook groups or anything. So it'd be interesting to see if people actually found it today, and if the same number of people watch the show as usual, then I never have to bother posting on Facebook or promoting my shows again. Great. All right. So what we're going to do is we'll come out of there. So we will bring this up and there you go. So we can actually have the limiter, our level meter and our loudness meter. The cheat is grounded. Hello, the cheat. Yes. See, someone's got the Homestar Runner strong bad reference there. Oh yes, I don't know what it is, but it probably was for Hogwarts. Ask friend Mike, ask my friend Joel. They said it was for Hogwarts. All right. Yeah, let's play through this song and let's just see how this is looking at the moment. We'll play around with the levels there with the limiter and see what sort of sound we can get with this. I'll turn the volume down a bit as we play, just in case it. Oh, that's pretty good. So you can hear what the limiter's doing here. There's our sound. Bring the limiter in.
People will say lots of things, but they just don't know why. Why do you care what they think of your choices in life? Lots of things just to make you feel small. Why do you care what they think of your choices in life? Choices in life. They will try to do it to you. You have a choice. We need a voice. If you make it, they will break it. We need a change. We need a break. People will judge you for things that you just cannot change. Why do you care what they think of your choices is?
Just stopping it there because I've realised we've got our things out of order here. So of course you need your metering after your limiting. Otherwise, you are not looking at the levels. You probably noticed that the levels were not matching. Let's just edit this again. Loudness meter can go at the end there as well. So that's going to actually look better. We'll just restart the song here. Now you'll notice that the levels will be showing the correct level here, peaking up at minus 0.1, and the loudness meter as well. So yeah, as you can see there, with the levels, with the loudness levels, it'll be a bit of a fight against the loudness here, because it's at the moment it's too loud. So it will be a job here to make sure that it's mixed to a level where we're not getting that massive overload. It's got to be a rock song, but we don't want it to be a complete sausage waveform by the end of this. But obviously all I did there was literally just turn on a limiter. So I haven't tweaked anything. I haven't finished the mix. Haven't done a whole bunch in the way of EQing either. So yeah, there's a bit left to do here. But where are we at? We're at the 19th of September. We're in pretty good shape. Remember, I got the weekend off, so I need this pretty much done by Friday, and we're only Tuesday morning here in Australia, so I got myself 4 days of listening and tweaking. Don't forget at this point of your song though to take breaks from it. So I'm not going to go and start listening to this straight away. I'm going to hit this button here. I'm going to hit this save button and let that just sort of simmer there and breathe for a little bit. I could not see. Yeah, so the LUFS were like minus 20 or something. It was nuts. But I can't remember because I only changed the meter afterwards. So I need to tweak that to get it in that zone. It was definitely pushing in the red when it came to the LUFS with that loudness metering. So I'll need to play around with that a little bit. We're going to finish off in just a jiffy. I'll give you a few reminders about some things. Yeah, well, I'll finish that thought though. What I was going to say is, make sure you take breaks from your song. Give your ears a rest, because when you get to this point of a song, you'll start wanting more of things and turning things up and not using subtractive EQ, using an additive EQ instead. You'll start like doing things outside of what you probably should do with your song because your ears get fatigued. I've been listening to this song for like an hour before this show and now almost an hour on this show. I need to take myself a break. I need to go and have a coffee and a bit of a rest and then come back to the song. Because when you come back, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I had that, or I can't believe I added that effect, or I can't believe I did that. So yeah, do give yourself breaks away from your music. Otherwise, it's going to drive you insane and you'll get sick of it. Last thing you want to do is get sick of your song. If you have any final questions while we do our little final farewells here, go ahead and put a big Q in front of your comment. More than happy to answer any final questions. Thank you to Weary Pirates. Princess LDG's just popped in. Thank you, Mix Club, for being here. Thank you, Frank Turzo, Dwight Bailey, Keonra. Thanks for hanging out here this morning, your time. Do you have a special? Yes. So Ashley, if you missed the very start of the show, I mentioned this. If you go over to studiolivetoday.com/songtember, which is this one here, then right at the top there. So very first thing on the Songtember page is the link to the form that is going to show you where you can submit it. Now, some people, don't stress, don't freak out. If you've already submitted it via the regular form, I've got it saved if it hasn't already been played on the show. If you want to make doubly sure, you can resubmit it onto the Songtember form, and then if I get duplicates, I'll just filter one of them out. So if you want to be sure that you get played on the show, go ahead and submit it there, and you'll be good to go. Oh, righty. I think we're all good. Yeah, a couple of quick reminders that we have. I'll be working on this show, so it'll probably be pre-recorded updates that we do from here. So just keep an eye on the channel to see when those videos drop, because I'll be doing a little bit more mixing behind the scenes and playing around with this, and probably going out walking. You might get like a mobile video of me walking around the neighborhood, listening on my earbuds, listening on my headphones, and just getting a feel for the song, because this is the point of the time where it's little changes. You don't want to make wholesale changes at this point, not 20 days into a song. This is where it's little changes that we'll be doing from here. So I think we're in good shape so far. Don't forget that this weekend is going to be a bit different. We've got a pre-recorded happy hour. It is My Music Live, so we'll be playing all of the music from the last sort of 7 or 8 years, all the music that I've made videos for. So some lyric videos, some videos starring me, and some of my little mashup videos where I use different movies. You probably know the ones. So that will be our premiere video at the usual happy hour slot on Sunday afternoon or Saturday evening, depending where you are in the world. And then if we'll come here, I'll show you the next one. The Your Music Live. So Your Music Live is at a different date. So these are all down in the description, but Your Music Live will be happening on the Monday night or Tuesday morning here in Australia. So one day late, exact same time, but one day later than usual. So do jump on down in the description and check those out. Should we have one more listen to this track? Should we go out with one more listen? Yeah, I think we should. I'll just turn this limited down a little bit, and and we'll take a listen to this because it was a little bit too much there. So this is the not released candidate yet, but this is the 75% there version of my new song called Choices. Jade Starr on backing vocals and drums. Everything else is me. And until next time, we'll see you around the traps. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Keep creating. Bye for now. Choice to be